Alrighty, folks, welcome back to Birdies in the Beehive. Brian here, Nick back here. We are at the shop. Not going to see us throwing any discs today because we just finished Utah State Championships. Mine was kind of meh, but that's okay. But I had a fun idea for after that, which was to change my bag. I've been throwing mostly DGA with, plenty of Discraft in there for quite a while. No particular reason, they just always felt great to me. Love the zone, love the buzz, love, you know what I mean? So just couldn't really get away from it. Well, now I'm forcing myself to do it. I feel like my game's gotten a little stagnant. I made a good progression this spring, and it's gotten a little slow lately. And maybe focusing on learning some new discs will help get my form kind of back to a more consistent product, basically. But yeah, I do have a bunch of discs at home, have quite a few MVPs. I've thrown a decent amount of MVP, which is what I'm going to be switching to. No particular reason, other than I have a bunch at home to choose from. Not enough though, so that's why we're at the shop today. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that, well, should we go through what your current lineup is?
Yeah, what I was going to do, the way we were going to do this is I do have, like I said, I took all my MVP discs at home. I have a lot of R2 plastic MVP, which I do not like, so didn't bring those. But I did pick out some ones from my collection that I definitely want in the bag. And then Nick and Ben at the shop here helped me figure out some replacements for some of my stuff. I won't have quite as big of a bag because, it costs money to buy a lot of new discs.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, but
so should we go by speed first?
yeah, let's go by speed first. I am going to switch my putting putter. Originally, I was not going to. I'm loving the Steady BL. It is my true putter, I think. But when I have putted with MVP, I've gone through a process of trying all their putters. The Pixel was by far the best for me.
Yeah, nice and glidey, kind of deep putter, beadless, kind of. It has like a little micro bead kind of thing on it. Yeah. But I think that this is going to be a good kind of replacement for your steadies.
Yeah, I enjoyed putting with the Pixel. I just never really did.
Yeah.
Next up, we have the Range. It's going to be an approach disc for me.
Utah State's Range.
Utah State's.
From
So
last year.
I'm going to let Nick tell you guys about the disc because he knows MVP a little better than I do for sure.
Yeah, so Range is kind of a slightly glidier, more straight bird, if you will.
Okay. Yeah.
It's kind of like when they're beat in, they will like flip to flat and maybe turn a hair, but then you're not going to get a ton of motion right or left out of these unless you force it.
Super solid approach disc.
Very, very good approach disc. They're supposed to have low glide. They go a real long way though.
Yeah.
So I really like Range. I bag a Range myself.
Nice. Next up, we have the original James Conrad Electron Envy. Why that Envy? I've thrown all different types of Envies. It was one of my favorite throwing putters for the first year and a half that I played.
Yeah,
this is my favorite Envy. It's held its stability the best. It just does exactly what James intended it to do.
Yeah, and the Envy, if you're not familiar, is kind of a pretty glidey, pretty straight throwing putter with a little bit of finish at the end. In the Electron plastic, you're looking a little bit straighter even, maybe straighter to slightly understable.
Yeah.
It's kind of what they beat into. This one looks like it's still got a lot of life left in it though. I bet this is going to be pretty dead straight with a little bit of finish.
I threw the, I took this out of the bag when I did have a lot more MVP in the bag and replaced it with the Proton Eagle Envy for quite a while.
Yeah.
But after throwing it today, this one still has the characteristics that I'm really looking for out of this slot.
Yeah, I think that's a great throwing putter, and I think you're gonna be really happy with that. I think ice surf.
Okay.
Type of flight.
Yeah, and I love the ice surf. So
yeah.
Next up, we have a couple of pyros.
Yeah.
The Prism Neutron. Sorry. Prism Neutron plastic pyro was in my bag for a long time. It was my main thrown mid-range. It is on the straighter side for a pyro at this point.
Pyro is an overstable mid just by nature, but certain the plastic type on an overstable mid, it makes a difference on how overstable it will be. Like the Prism Neutron, it's still overstable. The Prism Neutron is still overstable, at the end of its flight, but it definitely has more push forward before it dumps.
Right. And there's a chance that only one of these will end up in the bag permanently, but this next pyro is...
Yeah, this is Particle Glow Proton. I don't know if you're going to be able to see the glow in there, but there is, maybe if I put it against my chest. This is a lab second one. This is like a, Particle Glow Proton, and Proton is a little bit more overstable than the Neutron is.
Yeah, I'm throwing them today. This one definitely was quite a bit more overstable.
Yeah. I also bag a Pyro. I love the Pyro. I think it's my favorite overstable mid. Great on forehand and backhand, and I think that you're gonna really like this a lot.
Okay, next up we're gonna, just because this was from my selection, so we're jumping around speeds a little bit here.
Well, I organized them.
Oh, okay.
By low to high speed.
Okay, so we have the servo. What is this one?
This is the Proton
plastic. I love the servo. Back when I threw a little more MVP when I was starting, I never got along with the Crave. Just never worked for me. The servo was the first disc I really learned to forehand and have any type of success with. And so I've just always kind of been more of a servo than a Crave person.
Yeah, I also prefer the servo to the Crave. I have bagged both off and on throughout my disc golf journey, and I have equal number of aces with each.
Okay.
I have one ace with each.
One ace with each.
But the Crave ace was paid, so I don't know. But I love the servo, especially these Proton ones. They're a little bit more stable than the regular like Neutron or Plasma.
I haven't thrown it a bunch, but I have very much enjoyed its flight when I've thrown it for sure.
Again, good on forehand and backhand. Forehand kind of like dead straight, touch of finish.
Yeah.
Backhand, for you it'll probably be like dead straight, touch of finish as well on backhand. I think you're gonna like that one too.
Next up we have kind of my underrated secret favorite driver. That's the Virus, and I originally got this because I thought it was going to be my big turnover shot, and yes, now that it's super beat in, it can do that shot a little bit, but what it does for me really nicely is it flips up to straight and has a little drift, but will, as long as I don't throw it high in the air, will hold a straight line and just laser full.
Yeah.
It is flippy obviously as a disc in general, but this run of Virus, I've thrown other Viruses that were pure rollers, and this one holds on for me. Like I said, I can still use it for that big turnover shot, but I think I have other discs that I found today that I would rather use. This is going to be more of a flip up to straight driver for like wood lines, tunnel shots.
And again, I think you're going to really like this one a lot. Well, you already do.
Yeah.
Like, with your disc.
I threw this one a lot.
I think that's going to be like find a good spot in your bag.
And another super secret, I'm not a huge fan generally of the drivers from MVP or haven't been. This is a Neutron Zenith.
Yeah.
I wiped the stamp. It was the first disc I ever dyed. I missed a spot. It flies kind of like what I was talking about with the Virus, but without the flip up. So if I just do a nice flat release, it'll just push straight, and then have a decent left finish for me.
Yeah. So Zenith is another really good.
It's nice on forehand too.
It is.
It's nice and flat on forehand. That's one reason I chose it as well.
Yeah, very flat topped.
Yeah. I probably will end up throwing it more on forehand than I do backhand, because I have some other discs that we found today that will probably be more of the backhand discs.
Yeah.
And speaking of forehand, the last disc I wanted to add from this year's USWDGC up at Brighton, we have the
up in here.
Yeah, Vision, right?
Yep.
Vision Dimension. Why do I need a 14.5 speed? I don't. Here's the one thing about me, is I can actually forehand it really nicely. I have not thrown it on backhand. Nick tells me that it flies better on backhand than I should expect. I'll find that out soon enough. On forehand for me though, when I really rip into even high-speed discs, they tend to turn over on me. I produce a decent amount of torque for my age. And this disc allows me to throw about 290 to 310 from what I was throwing today.
Very nice.
On forehand, as long as I don't leave it too nose up. And it helps correct my forehand for me, if you will, because I tend to roll, especially when I'm trying to throw power. This gives me a little bit of leeway in making that mistake.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to keep it in the bag for now. I would like to see what it does on backhand as well.
I think you're going to like it on backhand.
This dimension I don't think acts like a true 14.5 speed.
No, and that's one of the beautiful things about taking a super overstable 14.5 speed like the Dimension and putting it in an understable plastic like Fission. Is you can kind of get just like a dead straight bomber.
Almost like a lightweight disc.
Exactly.
It's almost like
175.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not lightweight, but it flies like a lightweight.
Yeah.
So that's why I think you're gonna like it on back.
Yeah. I'm excited to try it for sure. Next up, so we had what, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9 discs that I pulled from home. There might have been a couple more here or there, but honestly, I'm excited to try some of the newer stuff from MVP. Don't have a particular number. I used to carry 24, 25 discs. Got the pound bag, Biggin, what's it called, Octothorpe. It can hold as many discs as I can possibly want to carry. But I am trying to slim it down because one of the purposes is, like I said, to really fine tune my form while learning these discs. And I feel like less is better in that case. So, what do we find today? First thing, I gave away a couple of pixels a long time ago, so I only had the one. I do need to get another. This was the only one I could find used. I'm not going to buy any new ones right now. I might buy 2 new ones if I really like it as a putter. To be my main putters, but I'm playing leagues in about an hour with this new bag. We'll see how that goes. But I need a second putter just in case.
Yeah. And then I think as we go through these ones, maybe let's talk about what disc in your bag it's going to replace.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So to start out, we have the Proton Watt.
So this might be MVP controversial in that I don't want the proxy, I don't want the spin, I don't want any of. I love the Watt. I threw it all over the place. It does what I tell it to do.
Very flat top.
As an approach disc, it kind of, I almost don't need the Envy. Like, put it to you that way. I do want something that has a little more overstability than this, but for the most part, the Watt's going to take the place of my Sonar, and probably my Zone SS. As far as utility goes, it'll probably take the place of both of those. And also my Steady BL, my Ice Steady BL, which is a straight throwing, it probably takes the place of all 3 of those.
Yeah.
The Envy I'm going to be using more to replace my actual Zone, to a degree.
The Envy?
Oh, I'm sorry, not the Envy. The Envy I'm not really replacing anything with the Envy.
I mean, kind of. I think
it's the Sonar.
Yeah, I think eventually it'll beat in to be like your Zone SS, like your job range.
Okay, so I could use that as, That's kind of give you an idea. I'm trying to, I carried a Zone OS, I carried a Zone SS, I carried a Zone, I carried a Steady BL, I carried a Sonar. And so I'm trying to cut it down to the Envy and the Watts.
Yeah, and the range.
And then I do have, and the range. And then I do have a couple 4-speeds that'll hopefully fill in that longer pushing forehand Zone slot.
Yeah. So Proton Watt is number 1. And then next up we have the Juno Tempo. Yeah, it's a neutron tempo.
And that's the slightly overstable 4-speed?
Yeah, so if you think about my bag, think about my A5s.
Yeah.
That's a tempo.
Okay.
It's like you can get a flip up on it on a forehand or a backhand, just a little one.
Yeah.
And it's not going to dump as hard as a Zone will.
Okay.
But it'll push really straight before it dumps. And then it'll kind of have like a nice slow dump to it.
One of the things I look for in my 4-speeds, if you can tell just how flat that really is, that's what I look for. I use them on forehand as much as anything. And so I really, almost the concave look of a Zone,
Yep.
That's what I like. And so that's what I was really looking for. In kind of semblance, I guess,
Yeah.
I got the Entropy as well. We found a used one.
Yeah.
That one's going to be a little dumpier.
Yes, this is going to fly closer to a Zone flight.
Okay.
Where you can put it flat, it'll go straight and then dump. On a forehand or a backhand. I think that the Entropy flies a little farther than the Zone before it dumps.
So it pushes, has a little more, especially if it's a used one as well, so very well could.
Used plasma, which means, it's still got a ton of life left in it.
Yeah.
But I think that these will complement each other very well, kind of your straight to slightly stable versus overstable approach.
Nice. I'm excited. Okay, next up, we got a mid. Detour. It's my Buzz SS.
Basically,
it's my Buzz SS. Might
better feeling. In
might
the
end up being
SS.
probably a little flippier than what my Buzz SS was.
They're pretty straight.
Are they?
They're pretty straight.
Well then, yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, great mid-range, kind of based on the numbers, slightly understable mid-range, but just slightly. It's a 5.5 -2.1, and they are very glidey. They will flip to flat, but not really flip over unless they're beat in.
Right.
But I think this will basically be your Buzz SS.
Okay, awesome. I need that.
Yeah.
Next up, we have my Buzz.
Yes. Yes. AKA his Hex.
Yeah. Generally, Hexes have always been more like a Buzz SS to me than a Buzz. Except for one, which was an Eclipse Classic. I gave that to Will. You've seen it seen him throw it on the video hundreds of times, I'm sure.
Probably.
I'm not going to make him give that back to me because he throws it. He likes it. So I picked up a Plasma Hex. I just enjoy the plastic. I enjoy the look of it.
Also very flat top.
Yeah. And I just wanted to kind of do what my Buzz does. If it's a little more understable, that's okay because of the next things.
Yes, yes. But I do think that like if the Plasma plastic is a touch more stable than the Neutron plastic on average. And so I think this will be a very similar flight to your Buzz. I think this is going to go farther.
Yeah.
Buzz.
Yeah, I think so too, actually.
Yeah. Next disc is the Proton Reactor. This is a very good, very useful disc. Slightly more overstable than the Hex. Oh, by the way, Hex and the Reactor both good on forehand and back.
Yeah.
On forehand, kind of a flip up for the Hex.
Yeah.
And this one, maybe just a tiny bit of hyzer.
Yeah.
And then it'll give you like a little flex. But Proton Reactor, pretty straight to slightly overstable bid. And this Proton, this is the OTB Open stamp from this year. Yeah, the run they did.
You guys notice I throw a lot of mid-ranges in there. You'll see a few big distance drivers, sure, but for the most part, I like the 5, 6, 7 speeds, especially with most of the courses we play, most of the tournaments I play. If I have 2 distance drivers and 3 fairway drivers, I'm good. Everything else needs to be working that way down because I'm going to throw everything 8 speed and down a lot more than I am 9 speed and up. Well, 9 speed's kind of depends, but
it's kind of,
I think for MVP I'll be throwing a lot less 9 speed because they don't have Raptors or County Raptors.
Well, they have things that are similar.
They have things that are similar. But the Reactor is going to fit really nicely between the Hex and the Pyros.
Hex and the Pyro.
Which is why I said I might lose one of those Pyros because the Plasma one may end up being very similar to the Reactor.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break, do some business. We'll be right back.
That's a good case.
All right, we're back. We are at the shop, so we are going to have guests coming through. You'll probably hear them in the talk background. It's all good.
Yep.
Next up, we went to a 6-speed. I'm looking to replace my Cicada.
7 speed.
7 speed, sorry.
Yep.
Looking to replace my Cicada. Pretty straight flying to a little bit flippy. 7 speed that I threw all over the place. We play at a lot of elevation, and it really comes in handy when I'm up on the mountains throwing the disc up there.
Well, and this is the Fission rhythm. So the rhythm is a 7.5 -2.1. In the Fission plastic, they actually changed the number to be a -2.5.1. And this one is 162, so it's going to be a little bit lighter weight, a little bit more understable.
Probably a little flippier than, I guess it's closer to my Vortex.
Yeah, Ben was in here a little bit ago, and he was saying that the Fission ones are closer to the Vortex.
Vortex, which actually is critical because the Vortex is another one that I threw. Yep. That's my 7 speed that I threw big Anheuser sweeping shots. It was also my roller.
Yeah, the consistent turnover type of disc. Like disc that wants to go right on a right-hand back to back. So I think that this is going to be a good addition to your bag as well.
The servo is probably closer to my Cicada. A little more overstable than my Cicada.
Yeah. Okay, next up we have this beautiful Another Round Salt Lake City stamped Neutron Volt.
That's a 9 speed? 8 speed.
So it's an 8.5 -0.52.
Okay.
So yeah, I think that's what it is.
I think that one,
-0.52.
in my mind when we were going through them, this was to replace my best friend's AB and AT Sagara, which was a meat hook of a Sagara. It was by far, at one point I had 3 Sagaras in the back, and it's the only one that's ever been like that. and I wanted something like that.
Good on forehand and backhand. Again, that's kind of a trend with MVP stuff because of the overmold technology. There's usually a little more torque resistance.
Yeah, it's one reason I actually picked MVP as the next. I very much considered this Mania as well, and I actually plan on doing that in the future too, because I am working on that forehand though, and they tend to have really nice forehand discs from what I've heard.
Again, pretty flat topped, which is good. It feels good in the hand, not too bulky.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice and it just feels good in the hand. But yeah, slightly overstable, 8-speed, kind of fairway driver. I think so. The two discs that I have in my replace is your Sagara, you were talking about, your overstable Sagara, and your straight Raptor.
Straight Raptor, yeah, which is nice because I need that because I really don't have a 9-speed replacement for the straight Raptor.
Right, and I think this will be a good one. It's going to start out a little more overstable, and then as it beats in, it'll pretty quickly get to be that straight with fade, with consistent fade.
Awesome. All right, 2 more left.
Yeah, 2 more.
What speed is this? 8?
That's an 8. Yep.
It's going to take me a while to learn all these.
Next, we have a Neutron Fireball.
I am familiar with the Fireball.
Yeah.
My cap wrap, my Avalanche, I gotta have it. Something like that. A 9-speed that fits in that 04 range or 1.4 or whatever.
Yeah, and this is a 9 3.5 0 3.5. But I find that most of the MVP stuff, especially as you go up in speed, they tend to be a little bit more overstable than the numbers suggest. So this is closer to the cap wrap than it is the Raptor.
Yeah, I figured that.
Yeah. There are some runs that are just as overstable as cap wraps, like the Simon Lizotte Halloween Eclipse ones.
And I love the cap wrap. I love the Avalanche too.
Yeah.
Avalanche, I feel like maybe pushes a little further for me.
Yeah, I think it's a 10-speed, and it's not quite as overstable, but it's still very overstable. Yeah. So I think that's going to be a good one. Good flare skips.
Yeah.
With that guy. Forehand and backhand.
Got to have a 9-speed overstable disc, right? I mean, I throw the cap wrap. I mean, very specific uses, but when I had a cap wrap in my bag, I replaced it with the Avalanche not too long ago. Love both of them. They do what they need to do. I've actually thrown quite a bit of Fireballs. It's the reason, well, it was the disc I was looking to replace when I put in the cap wrap originally, so I already know it's going to fit.
Yeah. And then last but certainly not least, Fission Trail.
Yeah, I gotta have a trail in there. I'm old. It's a great bomber disc for old people.
This is a 162, it looks like.
Yeah. A little lighter weight as well.
A little lighter weight. I bet you'll be able to hydro flip that to flat.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
Maybe even a little bit of turn.
I was gonna say if it ends up being too flippy for me, I do have another trail, an Electron trail that I already know is not Neutron trail. Thank you. It does not turn automatically. Like I'd have to put some turn on it to get it to turn. I hyzer flipped it up to straight and it just held that line for me. I wanted to try to fission to try to get the extra distance out of it, and I just love James Conrad and the stamp that they did for James Conrad. I just think it's super fun. I love the white. Obviously you can see I'm ditching the whole blue theme. That was never truly intended anyways, it just kind of happened.
For sure.
But
we believe you.
Ditching the blue, trying to get as much white in there as possible, keep it pretty. For old time's sake though, we have the pyro and the blue, so it'll be nice.
Yeah.
But,
a little bit of nostalgia there.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun with this. We're not sponsored by anybody, so we like to throw lots of different discs. I tend to kind of get in grooves where I throw one brand of discs, so thought this would be fun. Not something we'll do very often because, well, we're not going to show you him ringing me up for this, but it's kind of not going to be cheap.
Well, we could.
No. But it's fun. I recommend if you do want to try a bag switch like this, look as much in the used as you can. That way you can learn the discs for a much cheaper price. But we'll see how it affects my game. Like I said, it's more of kind of using it as a tool to kind of fine-tune some form work that I've been going on. And I'm going to go throw it in a league round right now. So we'll see how that goes.
Maybe you should post your scores of the league round for today at the end of the video, so that people can see how you finished.
Yeah,
depending on if it's good or bad.
I believe it's still there. The layout at Creekside is still in
Utah State's.
So it's not the easiest layout out there. Although we won't be playing the OB, so it'll be okay.
Right.
So, anyways, that's it for today. We just wanted to bring you along this little journey of mine personally and show you some of the stuff Nick helps people with here, how he kind of helps with people decide what to do. We had a new guy come in while we were filming this and had no idea what he was doing, and it was just fun to kind of watch that interaction and, you know, kind of get to see what Another Round does for the community.
We got him set up with a few discs
Yeah.
that are going to be fun for him to throw as he's getting started. Kind of, that's what we do here. We try to outfit everybody with something that they're going to have fun with.
Yeah.
You know?
And at Birdies in the Beehive, we just want to share it all with you, keep you informed on Utah Disc Golf, highlight our community, highlight the individuals that make up our great community here. And
As a side note, we still have 3 Lunas.
oh yeah, we got rid of 2 of them.
3.
We got rid of 3, and we have 3 Lunas left. Come in the shop. Make sure you liked the video that is associated with that. Should be pretty easy to find. We don't have a ton of videos. So, anyways, that's going to be it for today. I got to get off to leagues. Nick's got to get back to work.
Yep.
We will see y'all next time.
See you out there.